symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? The Job Guys back with you one more time. Nitro Nick right over there. The Slokester sitting right over here. And it's that time of year again, Nick. It is the end of 2023, one of our favorite shows that we do, the year-end award show. Nick, very quickly, 2023, one of the most important years and newsworthy years maybe of all time here.
A company got sold. You know, a big merger with the company. You know, it kind of almost two different trajectories. You got one company that's selling, making more money hand over fist than I think they ever have.
Everywhere they go.
And you've got another company that probably had their worst year in the history of their company this year.
And during that year, they sold 80,000 seats.
And they still did. Yeah. Yes, took it over. We went overseas. You had some pretty big names move companies, came back. It was a very, very interesting year in professional wrestling.
Vince has come and gone and come and gone. Again, we don't know what's going on. I mean, my gosh, what a year. Going to be interesting to see what happens moving here in 2024. Before we get there, let's wrap up 2023 with our annual award show. We have the male and female wrestler of the year, the tag team of the year, the most improved of the year, numerous other things, segment of the year, and the worst of all those awards. And we want to thank you guys out there, the Job Guy Universe, who gave their votes this year. We have 38 of the Job Guy Universe giving us their thoughts. We had them fill out a ballot. They gave us first, second, and third place for every single award, and it's much like the Heisman Trophy. A first-place vote gets you 5 points. Second gets you 3 points. 1 point for third place. We total them all up. Bada boom. Yeah. So let's get right into it. As we always do, let's start on a big-time positive note. It is the most improved wrestler of the year. And this was a nail-biter. Came right down to it. 6 points separate first and second place.
And I was shocked at the second place. I was shocked.
Were you? Because he was my first place guy. We'll get to him in a second. But number one, I believe, was your first place guy.
It was.
And it is
a Knight.
Yeah. LA Knight is your most improved wrestler of the year. He holds off Dirty Dom by 6 points. What a matchup between those two guys. And then slightly behind them was Swerve Strickland coming in.
Big push at the end, place. I think, of the year from Swerve. I think picked up a lot of momentum here in the last few months of 2023.
The Hangman feud did him, and some people think bad, some good. He has picked up a lot of steam here at the end of the year. Late push for Swerve. But LA Knight,
was a manager. Manager a year ago?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, myself included, saw something there when he was even managing. This guy can talk. He's got some charisma. And flipping him was probably the best thing, although me and you are kind of male model fans. I did like the models. I wish they would have done something else with them. But I do see... I don't think there's any arguing moving Knight away from the models and into this role as LA Knight was obviously the best thing to do. I think he was one of the top merch sellers of the year as well.
Until Punk came, I believe he was number one all year.
So I don't think you can argue with this. He has been, I mean, the place explodes when he goes in there. And for a lot of people that did miss the Attitude Era, they don't know the Rock and Austin gimmicks and little things that he does. And it's, I guess, almost like a remake of a song. If it got over once, why can't UB40 remake Can't Help Falling in Love? It sold once for Elvis. It might sell again, right? I mean, so, and it did, and he's delivering it, and I had him at one. I really do. I think the Knight had a great year.
Our buddy Mike Brisson out there, LA Knight number one, Matthew Grushak, Dirty Dom. And then, staying there, our guy Thad, Swerve Strickland. So there you go, 1 through 3. We got 3 different guys all in first place. I have no problem with that, especially when you look at the way he came in. The feud with Bray Wyatt, nobody really liked, didn't go well.
Was in trouble there for a minute.
WrestleMania, and then, boom, took off like a bottle rocket. He took off.
And you had Dom. You really liked Dom. I wish we would got to hear him talk a little bit more this year before it just became Fandango-esque to do the boo. Like let the guy say, let's see how good this guy is. He can't live off booze.
All right, so biggest fall, as we are going to find out through the rest of the night, we do the exact opposite. We had most improved. How about the biggest fall of the year? And we had numerous here, but they were similar. Some people put one thing / another, so we combined those together. And what I am talking about is our number one winner, AEW / Tony Khan. Number one of the year. All first place votes. They got 10 first place votes combined. Number one of the year, AEW. Number two, pretty big fall. Austin Theory is your number two.
It was my number.
Then you have
right on my ballot.
Ronda Rousey at 3, followed by Riddle. He's gone. Big time fall. He is unemployed. And then it's Sami Zayn as well, along with Jungle Boy and CM Punk, all coming in tied in that spot right there. But let's talk about it. We mentioned it at the top of the show.
It's a bad year.
There is so much. It's polarizing as it is, right? And we have the tribalism and everything. But there have been so many things with AEW that have really brought that company down. And it's kind of sad to see. Maybe the biggest, they still don't have a TV deal. We don't know what's going to happen there. But just little mistakes. You heard Hogan say, you can make some mistakes, but they add up and they add up. And then you end up WCW. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but it's kind of leading down that path, is it not?
Ryan, you had the biggest pay-per-view in your company's history. And you can argue maybe one of the biggest in wrestling history.
Yeah.
It was
80,000 people.
No one's talking about it.
No.
I don't even remember a match on the card because all we were talking about is the altercations with Punk and the Elite, Jungle Boy. Not only on top of that, you lost your biggest star. CM Punk leaves the company, and whether you love or hate him, we're not the biggest fans, but he does bring a base with him, and where he goes, they go.
He's got those people, man.
So you had that, like you said, with the TV deal, you had him disappointing with his big announcements all year round. I've got a huge announcement. I bought new shoes, or whatever he has come to tell us.
That was huge for me.
Yeah, I know
the announcements over and over again.
I know people don't want to say it. Very resemblance of 99 WCW with the injuries in AEW.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries this year, key injuries at key points that took these guys. Adam Cole.
Sure.
You're building this major feud with.
We assume he would have been the devil, right?
You would assume, maybe still is. How many times has Brian Danielson gone down?
Yeah. Kenny Omega's hurt again.
It is. It's these things just keep compounding. Bad year for AEW and Tony Khan.
It's always one step forward, two steps back, kind of. There always seems to be something, maybe no bigger than Wembley Stadium, and no one's talking about that afterward. They're talking about what else happened.
Yep.
And there's been numerous things all year.
And not to mention, the guy walks out with your belt, Ryan.
Yeah.
AEW easily wins biggest fall from where they were a year ago. My goodness.
And you had that on yours, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did too. We have from Rich, Sami Zayn, number one, Drew McIntyre, and I think he's come back up. So I would say I wouldn't have voted that there because he's come back up. Then he has Theory, our guy Brock, Tony Khan, number one. A name we're going to hear a bunch here today, Karrion Kross, number two on his. So there definitely is some. Matt Grushak has Bianca. Mike Brisson, CM Punk, Edge, Karrion Kross. So Thad has Punk as well. Those were a couple of the first place votes for Punk.
Sure.
So there you go, man. Biggest fall, AEW. Very strange, but it has happened to him this year. Let's move on to the Rookie of the Year. A lot of people didn't know what to put here, and it's strange because now we have NXT, we have ROH, we've got like minor leagues.
When are they a rookie to when are they not?
So we kind of like give a little leniency here. Like if you've been on NXT, but then maybe you come up to the main roster, okay, that counts. And that's why I put Solo Sikoa number one. Now, he was at He was overseas when he came in, but it was September of last year. So most of his rookie year,
And I think he didn't really hit the ring. He didn't hit the ring much more than a handful of times. Yeah.
So I had him number one. He did get some votes, but he is not your winner. Your winner, and kind of in a runaway fashion, Tiffany Stratton.
Deserves it.
Great year for her. She's really made a name for herself. Obviously looks good. Great character, good mic work, and she can work. A former
She's the
gymnast.
complete package.
Yeah.
Man, I'm ready for her to get up to Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
Let's get her on those shows permanently. The women's divisions need something.
Yep.
Some sort of steroid to the
stale, isn't it?
It's real stale. And Stratton could be that.
Very well. She had a great match with Becky already. So
Awesome.
She's right there, man. Coming in second place, Grushak's first place vote is Grayson Waller. Got a number of votes as well, so he is right there. He had a great year, and then following that up, 6 first-place votes for Vikingo. Austin was one of those who voted Vikingo. And then we have Carmelo Hayes, and then Solo were tied there, coming in 5th place. But your thoughts, and who did you have? Stratton?
I had Stratton on there, I believe, and it just Vikingo. I think he's got some skill, Ryan. But the thing that bothers me about that really looks choreographed. Really looks when people just stand there at the bottom waiting for a guy to jump on them. It loses something to me.
Guy Dan also had Waller number 1, Tiffany, then Carmelo coming in 3rd place on that one. Rookie of the year, all right, you mentioned The Miz. He got some votes here, as he normally does. Best mic skills of the year. Now, this year was weird because in our previous, it has been MJF, Eddie Kingston. They have tied, actually, before. They are always your winners. They are nowhere to be found this year. Kingston got 2 votes, both first place votes, but they are way down. MJF is there, but not like he has been in the past. Your winner, once again, L.A. Knight.
Taking home another
And
one.
it is a big win for him. CM Punk coming in number 2. So he's all over the place. He's got some biggest fall. He's got some worst wrestler votes, but he still gets the Mike Skills votes as well.
A fan base too.
He comes in 2nd. Here's one, and I think you and I both had him up there. Roman Reigns coming in 3rd. 6 first-place votes for him, and then a tie with Cody and Christian behind them. And then MJF is there as well. Tell us who you had, and then your thoughts. L.A. Knight picking up another award, man. This guy, people love him.
And I do too. And I am a L.A. Knight guy, more or less for me, though, because of the crowd. I love when the crowd's in and the crowd is behind this guy. If the crowd's into the match, if the crowd's hype, it makes the whole event better. If you don't believe me, go watch the Puerto Rican pay-per-view from this year. That pay-per-view, you take that crowd out, I don't think that's a very memorable pay-per-view at all. That crowd made that show amazing. But yeah, Ryan, almost 500,000 people extra are showing in to watch SmackDown when the Chief shows up.
Yep.
That's why we know he ain't fighting. We know he ain't showing up to wrestle, so they're showing up to listen to him. That's why I voted him at 1. Yeah. The Knight, again, he does stumble to me in that it doesn't come. What he's saying is very good. It comes over well. It comes across well. But there are certain points, and if people get a chance, and again, it's not a devastating something that's going to ruin his career.
Not a record scratch. But he stumbles.
He stumbles. It doesn't flow as well, which. When you are a guy who talks like Austin or The Rock, the delivery is very crucial.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but he deserves that, and our fans have spoken, and L.A. Knight wins the award.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2 things. I don't dislike L.A. Knight, but I don't see it the way everybody else does.
Okay.
Like, I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great. He's just kind of there to me. He is, if Austin and The Rock had a baby, it'd be this guy.
L.A. Knight.
And he doesn't do much else than say, yeah, an L.A. Knight. And when he does, he stumbles a lot. And I don't think he stinks. I just don't see this main event guy that everybody else does. I had Roman Reigns number 1. You had Roman Reigns number 1. Our guy Brock had Roman Reigns number 1. And the reason why is you'll find out through the rest of the show, Roman's going to do very well in these awards. You know he's going to be up for Best Male. When we get to Best Segment of the Year, they're like all Roman segments, darn near every single one. And why is that? Well, it's not because he can't talk. Now, he doesn't say much, obviously, but what he does matters. And when he says it and how he says it matters. When he's out there, and this is part of Mike's Skillz, he has a presence about him, you know, and even watches nonverbal Mike's Skillz. That one time when Jay and Jimmy were going at it, and then he goes, if you're out, I'm out too. And then he kicked Roman when he finally left the bloodline. Watch Roman's mannerisms. He sits there, and when Jimmy and Jay are going at it, Roman's sitting there like, like the look on his face, the face is, that's all part of Mike's Skillz to me. That's all communication.
I love him flapping his belt.
I just
love when
sticking out his tongue, flapping. Like, that is Mike's Skillz to me, because that's all part of communication. And
it's believable.
Nobody is better than him. And once again, why would all these segments be number 1? They all have to do with him. He's doing something right. So, yeah, while he's not cutting a diatribe and shooting on everybody the way Punk might be or other people, what he does is darn near perfect.
People want to hear it.
And I think a lot of people, as we'll find out, too, throughout the awards, there are people, they're mad that he's not there a lot. How about overrated wrestler of the year? This was tight, and I think this one we might have gotten 30 to 40 different votes. Whew. It was all over the place, but coming out just barely on top, and we talked about the differential by 2 points. CM Punk, most overrated wrestler of the year, 6 first place votes. He beats MJF and Roman by 2 points because he got an extra third place and the other guys didn't. MJF and Roman right behind him. Charlotte Flair right there as well. And then a guy that I think has had kind of a bad year, and you can tell, Edge, Adam Copeland coming in behind them, and then followed by them is a Moxley and numerous other guys. Young Bucks, Hangman, all got votes, and a couple of votes. But
polarizing top 3.
Yep.
And I think every one of these top 3, and we should say and I think everybody who voted took this, overrated does not mean worst ever.
Oh, no.
I always like to reiterate that when we do this. It just means people think you're a 10 and you're really a 7.
Yes.
You know,
but even a 7 and an 8, that's still an overrated.
Still good. Yeah, but still, you know, but I think, you know, you got Punk, you got a lot of people who really think he, and rightfully so, the damage he dealt to AEW this year. Yep. Maybe overrated him. You've got people on MJF. I think a lot of people are seeing the face is not working.
Yep.
This thing, and I think that's what's hitting him on the overrated. If he was still a heel, I don't know that he would have gotten these votes.
Yep.
And Roman, I still believe you are getting some either get here or get out of here votes. You know, either be on the show or get the hell off the show.
Or people didn't like him going back 5 years, and they still don't like him.
Right.
Greshak had him number 1. Most overrated, Roman Reigns. And we're all over the place. MJF coming from Brisson, Edge, and then Punk. And then Thad. Punk, number 1. Edge, number 2. Danhausen, number 3. So we're all over the place, but those guys...
Edge did not deliver the ratings that people thought. So that's maybe where nothing changed. Edge showed up, and I don't even know that I watched his first. I think I recorded it.
You love Edge, and you've loved him since... 20 years ago?
Yeah, I the Rated R superstar, man. I'm a big fan of Edge, but again, I just didn't do it. There's nobody over there, and you brought him and you threw him with Christian. I've already watched.
We've already seen the exact opposite. Now let's do underrated, most underrated wrestler of the year, and he gets votes every single year. And here he is again.
People like him.
Chad Gable is your winner, 34. 34 for first. Second place, The Miz. Again, people are closet Miz fans, and you sit there and a lot of people go, why do they keep putting this guy out there? Why do they keep putting this guy out here?
Why.
Every year when we do these, that's why. There are people out there that really
my
like
problem
this guy.
with The Miz is win-loss record. That's my biggest problem with the guy. The guy can talk, but you can't have a guy lose. I don't know if he won 2 matches.
I think he did, but it took half the year.
And now I'm supposed to take this guy serious as a title contender.
Yep.
You know, it just doesn't work for me, brother.
I know.
But Gable, people
year
like him.
They want them to do something with him that sustains. He did have that push with Gunther there for the IC title.
And he had a good match with Gunther. He did on
a
Raw.
couple of them. I've got the Miz here from the doc. You can plug and play him with anybody. It's always solid. And then Chad Gable, number 3, coming from the doc. A lot of people. Logan Paul gets a couple of votes as well. And then this was another one. We have 3 pages here of all underrated people because so many thought there was somebody worth a vote in the ring. Nick, who did you have?
Austin Theory.
You still had him. And he was huge last year.
I love this guy. I don't understand what does he not have? He can talk. I know maybe he's not the best, but that could get better with time.
Yeah.
I'm just very disappointed in what they've done with Theory. I
agree.
I see talent. I see something there.
Major fall off.
Yeah.
Major fall off. Underrated coming from Deke. Drew McIntyre, number 1. And he's doing great right now with that Bret Hart gimmick, 97
It's
Bret.
all I'm tuning in for Raw.
It's great. The Miz, he's got him there. And then Shinsuke, I think he's had a great bounce back year.
I think it's the best year in the WWE.
Since they've started doing the backstage promos, pre-produced, with the subtitles.
We can understand.
He's been great.
He's got angles,
He's
stories.
been great.
Like we can, yeah. It's not just music.
All right, now here's another one. This one came down to the wire here a little bit. Best worker of the year, and this could be all over the place because once again you go back to the tribalism, you go back to the war. Some people believe, everybody in AEW is the greatest wrestler of all time. Well, WWE is just a bunch of clowns running around. You get a lot of that. Whatever. On our vote,
Runaway kind of.
Seth Rollins.
I vote. That was
massive.
That was my vote.
He runs away with this. Over 100 points. Number 2 is Gunther. Gunta, the guy whose career was going to be ruined by changing his name. Yeah, how's that working out? He comes in second, and then third place, Bryan Danielson coming in third. He had a great year, had a number of great matches. We knew he can work. The guy's been working for 20 years.
Your criticism of Bryan Danielson cannot be in ring. Seth Rollins, he is. I mean, he delivers all the time. There isn't a pay-per-view where he's going to be the worst. He gave you. I mean, Logan Paul versus him was in one. We'll talk later. Is one of my matches of the year that I voted. Seth Rollins, he's awesome. I agree with everybody on this one. He is the best worker in the industry.
It's tough to find people that didn't vote for Seth. Number 1. Austin has Danielson number 1, has Vikingo number 2, and Omega number 3. Austin loves him some Vikingo, and I know Jeff and his girlfriend do as well out in San Diego. They had him very high on numerous things as well. Vikingo getting some big votes. I was surprised there was not more Will Ospreay. I was surprised there was not more Kenny Omega. I was very surprised by them. They did get votes. Omega only got 4 votes, though, in that. And speaking of runaway, this was a runaway, but I don't think there was very many of these. So it was kind of tough. We are talking about best faction of the year. There wasn't very many that were good.
I was going to say, there's a lot of factions.
Yeah, there's a million.
There's just not a lot of good ones.
Yeah. The Bloodline wins again.
It has to.
They got nothing but first place votes. Nothing but 130 total points. Coming in second, right behind them, with 110 points, was Judgment Day. And I do think some people like them, and I do think they've gotten slightly better.
They're better than any of these guys were before, when they started. When they started this group, I was like, this is done in 2 weeks.
They're devils
this is ridiculous.
And Dom and Rhea have made them better. I think beyond them, though, I have a hard time watching them. And Raw, they are on every dang segment.
It's
the Bloodline was incredible.
They main evented both nights of WrestleMania.
Yes.
I mean,
they were the main event of SummerSlam. And they were the main event
every
of Night of
pay-per-view.
Champions.
Constantly, but yeah, basically, yes. I mean, been the main event.
Worst faction. Now, this one was a little different. Well, again, we got a million different votes, and there are so many, so it's easy to do. Your winner in a close race is Damage Control. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I don't think they're good. I think it's been very tough. I think Bailey has been bad. You have a numerous women that don't speak English, so there's not a lot to draw you to them. There's not a lot to hate because they're bad girls. There's not a lot to hate because I don't really know their character. What's Kairi Sane's character? What's Asuka's character? What's Io's character? And the other girls hurt and have been hurt since they started. Right. So I didn't
rate them on the worst list. Bayley, I don't hate her as much as you do.
I think she's terrible.
But
I'm sorry.
She also is being put out there too much because the rest of the group can't talk.
Yeah, so she does it all.
Same way you're overexposing Judgment Day, Bayley is forced to pull this whole train because no one else, I mean, even Dakota Kai, who can speak English, but she's terrible. And she, like you said, she's been hurt. The other three girls can wrestle really great. Right. I mean, they're awesome, but there's nothing to them other than their wrestling ability.
Hit Row.
Oh,
people forgot about Hit Row. Austin has Hit Row. He has the models. And coming from Austin, this is funny. He is a Punk guy. The Elite. Number 3, he's got the Elite. Yeah,
some people are really. I think it goes back to the bad AEW year. People are scarred. People are
out
upset.
On the Bucks.
People are mad. They're not giving them what they want. Yep. I think people are ready to lash back out at them a little bit.
People are seeing that they don't know how to do, and this is what some people are worried with Will Ospreay, and he has admitted he has never done weekly TV before. He's never done it. All he has to do is maybe cut one promo and then go have a banger. That's all he has to do.
And he's great at that.
And he can do that.
Sure.
And that's what Kenny Omega was doing. That's what the Bucks were doing. These guys don't know how to do weekly TV.
It's right.
They don't have the charisma to cut the promo on a weekly song. And now, after 4 years, people are finally seeing that. Plus, you add in the politics. Plus, you add in the Punk stuff. You add in all that stuff, and you go, yeah, you know what? You're really not all that great. I had a lot, and I put 3 down, first, second, third. They're all tied for first in my mind. Jericho Appreciation Society did not get the votes I thought they would. They got 2 first.
I think people forgot. I forgot.
They couldn't be worse.
They were awful.
Jericho has had a terrible year. Maybe biggest fall. He should have gotten some votes. He had a terrible year.
He did not elevate one of those guys in that group.
Jeff Jarrett's group. What are they? Why are they on my TV?
Why is Jeff Jarrett?
We did not want to see Jeff Jarrett 30 years ago when he's IC champ. That was the worst period of WWE of all time. Why is he on my TV? Get him out of here. And then I know people like one guy now. The Mogul Embassy could not be worse. Yeah. Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt. You got the guy, he's dancing around all crazy while Swerve is walking all serious like he's a serial killer. And then they got a guy behind him clowning around. What is this group?
It doesn't.
What are they?
It doesn't mesh.
It's
doesn't
so
work
bad
for me,
to me, dude. Comeback of the year. It seems like everybody came back like last week.
Yes. Yes. Or at least in the second half of the year.
We got a bunch of comebacks here. CM Punk wins.
As he should
at Survivor Series.
It was
122 points. He wins, followed by Randall Orton, second place. Also at the Survivor Series the same night. They are first and second. I had John Cena number 1. He didn't win any matches and he didn't really fight many matches, but he boosted ratings and he got people involved.
I think Orton maybe could have challenged Punk if it hadn't been announced.
We got Randy Orton coming in here from Griff, Orton, CM Punk, and Edge he has in there for best comeback as well. How about Bo? Does he have it? He has Orton, number 1, Punk, and Cody. We had a couple votes for Cody. I don't know what he came back from. Was it the Brock, fake injury? I assume that's what it was. But we had a couple votes for that. Punk, Carlito, Randy Orton. Coming from the Doctor. So that one kind of is a runaway, CM Punk and Orton. Feud of the year. This was a runaway, and this was a tough one because there were 2 of them here that were kind of the same thing, and they ran away with it. And it is Feud of the year winner, and we split them. Because some people put one or they put the other. They didn't put them together.
Okay.
And it is Sammy against the Bloodline. Runs away with it. 116 votes, Sammy and Bloodline. Followed by Brock and Cody, then Cody and Roman, Ray and Roman, and then here's the other half of it. Sammy and Roman got votes as well.
Who's in all of these?
He is in every one but one of them. That would be Mr. Roman Reigns.
He's the greatest thing in wrestling right now.
But he can't talk. He has great feuds, but he can't talk.
And great matches.
Yeah.
But I don't...
Match of the year, segment of the year, feud of the year, but he can't talk. What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing.
Best feud, John Connor has Cody Roman, Brock Cody, Miz L.A. Knight, Sammy Bloodline, Brock Cody, Ray Dominic. That's the one I had that other people did not have. Ray and Dominic, I thought, was incredible. I got Sammy in the Bloodline. I got Roman J and Dom and Ray as mine.
I think I had the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sammy. I had Cody and Roman, as feuds of the year. Everything I have, I think, revolves around the Bloodline. And I could even maybe now looking at it, switch to Sammy and Roman. That Sammy Roman thing was incredible. Sammy and the Bloodline,
incredible.
I don't care when
to
he was
the point people wanted Sammy to fight him at Mania.
Yes,
and they were pissed when he didn't,
and they were upset when he lost.
Yes,
I mean they were. I don't know.
Silent. We have not heard from Eric Columbia, our boy. Another one we didn't mention, Syracuse, New York. So again, coming from all over the country, he has got Sammy against the Bloodline, number one. Swerve and Hangman, number two. Remember that. He's got Swerve and Hangman, number two. And then he has got Asuka and Bianca up there for one of the feuds of the year. Yeah, and then let's look at best feud. Cody Lesnar coming from Grushock, Sammy and Roman, and then Dom and Ray. I want to say quickly before we go, Cody Brock got a lot of votes, came in second here. I didn't like that feud at all. For the main reason, they never told us why it happened. The night after Mania, Brock just beats up Cody for no reason whatsoever, and they never explained it. Oh, yeah, here we go. We have not heard from Jeff. We've mentioned him a couple of times out there in San Diego, but we have not. He's got Sammy in the Bloodline, number one. Kenny Omega against Don Callis, number two. That went on for a while. And then Jay and Roman, number three. So there we go. Best feud, Sammy and the Bloodline. How about the opposite? Worst feud. This also was kind of a runaway, and we are talking about Ronda and Shayna. Runaway winner, 64 points. They hold off Becky and Trish. That was a very long, terrible feud, I believe. It ended with an awesome match out of nowhere in the cage.
Against, those are my two favorite females of all time. I can't vote against them.
Well, they were up there.
They were, I get it. But the ended, I will say, though, the other one, Ronda and Shayna, people have every right to vote. Out of nowhere did this feud start.
It was only like a week or two long. Our guy, Rich.
People really didn't like that Lynch.
I thought it was terrible.
I thought it was bad, but I didn't hate it as I'm so biased toward those two girls.
It ended on top. It ended with a great match.
So phenomenal,
I think people forgot it.
Cage match.
I got things that not many people have. I want to know yours too. I believe you voted for this as well. My worst feud of the year is MJF and Adam Cole and the wheelchair guy with the neck brace on that just screams people's names. Roddy. My man Roddy. It just screaming people's names. The slow motion eating at Outback Steakhouse and at the bar and dumb jokes and slow motion everything and doing yard work. And
Major Champ looked like a chump.
And that's when things started slipping.
Yep.
That's when things started slipping with this company. I think that is beyond terrible. I know it got some votes for feud of the year and match of the year and all this. I think the Hangman Swerve feud was beyond terrible. I think it was beyond terrible. Do you understand me? Beyond terrible. This man breaks in this guy's house. Apparently, they left the baby by itself in a crib. As one does at midnight. They leave their baby home while they go out or something.
Sure.
Nobody stopped him. Nobody went in the room when he was taunting a baby.
Or called the police after.
Then Hangman does nothing the following week. He just has a match with somebody else.
They were like face to face where he could have.
2 weeks later. He waited a week. Then he got really mad. Only after the internet goes, how come you didn't kill this guy for breaking in your house? Oh, wait, maybe we should do something about that.
What a joke.
It was so bad. It was so bad. And then it ends with the drinking blood match.
This is, I'm sorry. This is not.
It was terrible.
That's not for me.
I'm sorry, dude.
Awful.
None of it made sense.
Awful.
You don't break into somebody's house and then taunt their baby who's home alone and he's 3 months old. It's ridiculous. And then one that got dropped, and it happens to involve Swerve again. Swerve against Keith Lee. What happened with that? Oh, wait, we just forgot all about it.
They were thick as thieves, and you're setting up this feud, and no, we're not going Mega Powers at 5.
Like
we're
two
going
or three times.
Yeah.
And then they heated it back up, then they dropped it again. Heated it back up and dropped it again.
It makes you wonder.
Sorry, dude.
It makes me wonder about Keith Lee. It really
makes
does.
Me wonder about Swerve Strickland.
That's true. It could. What's going I voted number 1, Jungle Boy Christian. I thought that was just garbage television.
And people forget about it. Why? Because of CM Punk.
Because of CM Punk. I thought it was just really bad, all of them, with Luchasaurus and the turning on people, and the whole thing was Christian went after Luke Perry. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, it just really was not good.
Ross has Becky and Trish number 1. Here's one. He's the only guy that voted for it, and he's right, because they fought every week. Sammy, KO, and Cody against the Judgment Day. Yeah, and our man Jeff and Heather, they both had Cena Theory, and I thought that wasn't great because it was one night, and Cena, we talked about don't shoot on people. Cena butchered this man, and he hasn't gotten up since.
No.
He hasn't gotten up since.
You got to be careful shooting on people, especially letting people like Cena, Punk, Triple H, these guys cut to the bone when they do that, man.
And it's tough to get up.
It is.
And right now, Austin Theory he's on life support. For life. Here we go. Best match of the year.
Back to
some good stuff. It is night 1 of WrestleMania.
Had to be, right?
Actually, our top 2 matches are night 1 of WrestleMania.
Okay.
Number 1, KO and Sammy win the tag team titles over the Usos.
Great match.
Number 1, just barely defeating Charlotte and Rhea.
Okay.
Night 1 at WrestleMania. They come in second, followed by night 2 at WrestleMania, and that is the triple threat. Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus. I'm actually surprised that came in third, but it did. And they were all neck and neck. I mean, that was one vote here or there.
If you're just specifically looking at matches, not the storyline, not the build, I have no problem with any one of those.
Yeah.
They were all really good, done matches.
This is like all WrestleMania. The next one after that is Roman Cody in fourth place, and Roman Sammy came in.
Okay.
Then we have Omega Ospreay and Swerve Hangman came in tied 22 points apiece. They are right there, along with MJF and Bryan. So those came in as well, all right there behind them. But WrestleMania running away. That's what you had.
I had Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus the Usos as number 1. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to go again. People are going to hate me. I love the girl. Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus in the cage is number 2.
It was a good match.
I love the match. And number 3, for me, Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, WrestleMania. I can't get enough of Logan Paul. I'm sorry.
Guy Eric has Rhea Charlotte number 1, MJF Danielson number 2, Gunther versus The Miz number 3. So he's got that in there. Yeah, a lot all over the place. I'll tell you, mine is different than everybody else, and I picked the match. Maybe it wasn't the best match, but it's the match I enjoyed the most.
That's what it means.
And that is from the entrance until the finish of the match. And the match I enjoyed the most, and I was there. To me, it's the match of the year because I enjoyed it. Did they do the best moves? No. But my match of the year is Dom against Ray at WrestleMania. From the entrance to the finish, that was the most entertaining match of the night. Yes! Because it fit, didn't it?
He's his kid.
Because it fit.
He's his kid.
The entrance where he comes in with the prison guards.
We're all supposed to believe Dom is this hardcore prisoner from
he did hard time, man.
Yeah, man. Attica.
Dude. Yeah. Thanks, Nash. No, it's great. Let me grab Thad. We have not hit him here in a minute, if I can. Best match. He's got Ospreay Omega at Forbidden Door.
Okay.
He has Swerve and Hangman at Full Gear. He has that as his number 2 match. Now, I heard a lot of people it's one or the other. Very polarizing on that match. And then here's one. He's the only guy that had it. Dragunov against Dijak at Battleground. He's got that in there as well. I want to get to his worst feud as well. Have we gotten to worst feud?
No, worst comes up next.
Did we already, Pat? No, we got worst feud.
We got worst feud, I think, that match.
He has CM Punk against professionalism. I wanted to put that out there. He is that was his number 1.
I want to change my vote to whatever. I want to change my vote to CM Punk versus
professionalism. I forgot to say that before, man. I wanted to get that out there. Thad, I totally forgot.
God.
Brock, we've got KO and Sammy against Uso, Seth against Finn at SummerSlam, Damian Priest versus Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico.
That was
was good.
Bad Bunny, I can't tell you a thing he sings or what he does. I know he's a very popular on Spotify.
The biggest guy, him and Taylor Swift. Yep, let's go with Jeff real quick. He's got Zayn Reigns Elimination Chamber number 1. MJF Danielson, Revolution, and then Cody Roman, number 1. How about the worst match? Not surprising, same as our worst feud. So bad that I paid for a ticket and I didn't watch. I went and got a burger. Shayna against Ronda at Survivor Series is number 1. It barely holds off, and I am a little disappointed. Maybe people didn't see this.
It should have won.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre match comes in number 2.
That was my number 1.
It got 8 first-place votes, but it comes in second because it didn't get as many votes. It comes in. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Ever
and
in
again,
the history.
It's Jeff Jarrett against a Hardy Boy. Come on. It was beyond terrible.
Leatherface is out on
with the chainsaw. With it going
I mean, what do
behind it, pumped into the speakers, a la the gun, the Mounties cattle prod.
Scott Hall. Yeah. Oh God.
I mean, did we not learn anything?
Oh my God!
Did we not learn anything from the zombie match with the Miz and all them? I mean, come on.
It's that bad. It's that type of match.
And it was worse, actually. That finished second somehow, tied for third. Omos and Brock at Mania, which I actually thought was a good match.
I thought
nobody wanted to see it, but it was short and quick. Boom, 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 done. Jeff and Heather both have Ronda Rousey and Baszler. Then they have Texas Chainsaw, so they are right there as well. One that got some votes on another category that we didn't mention. We've been talking a lot. LA Knight against Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble, worst match. That Mountain Dew match that gets
lights out or something like that, or
tied for third. Wanted to mention that. Obviously. Been a tough year for Wyatt and his family, real
and his
life,
fan base,
and his fans.
family.
But that was not good. That was not good.
I think the last I'll say, if I can, on Shane and Ronda, don't do MMA matches in WWE.
It's already fake fighting. Don't do fake real fighting.
No, it does not work. Don't do MMA, and I don't want to see Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers or anybody else, Ghostbusters or anybody else in this crap. I don't want to see zombies. They're always the worst matches of the year.
Our man Duff, Shayna, Ronda, and that's all he put. He was out. He just said, I'm out of here.
3 times. Vote for that 3 times.
Now, I wanted to get this in here. Jeff, his worst match of the year was Jay against Roman. He was in attendance for that. And, Tribal Combat, we thought it was going to be something special because the lead into it was awesome, where they pumped fist and went head-to-head and we were like, oh, man, this is going to be something. I wonder what this means.
Is that deep?
And it was barely a hardcore match. It wasn't great.
To the same, but shades of Starrcade 97, as you will, not a botch like that, but this is what I've been waiting for, and this is what you gave me?
Fell flat. Yeah. I didn't think it was horrible. I didn't think it was good.
I didn't think the match was horrible. The ending is god-awful.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, not good at all. But, I wanted to get that in there. And he has Wyatt, LA Knight, and then Rousey, Baylor.
Those are all good picks. They're for bad matches. They're great picks. I mean, they're just...
Best segment of the year. Best segment of the year. Kind of a runaway here. It is Sami Zayn turning on Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble. Once again, the number one guy. Yeah.
How can it not be?
Right.
Because if it's the best faction, if it's the best matches, the story, how can the setup not? Folks, you voted correctly, I think.
Sami turns at Rumble. The crowd, just a massive eruption when he hit him with the chair.
And this is what you see when wrestling is done right. We all knew it was coming. We expected it to come, and it was still awesome.
And it was still awesome.
It didn't have to be a sweet chin music and throw him through the glass out of no, which are great too.
Yeah.
Those are great moments. But sometimes the right thing to do is the obvious thing, and it was awesome. What a moment. I agree. 100%.
We've got second place, CM Punk returning at Survivor Series. Third place, and it got 8 first place votes, no other votes. The segment with Cody and Heyman before WrestleMania.
Okay.
Standing in the ring. Surprising third place there. The Usos turning on Roman was there. Eric Columbia has that. Number 1, Jay turning on Roman. Then CM Punk. Then the trial of Sami Zayn, which also got some votes. It got 3 votes. Yeah.
They're all bloodline.
And then a million other things. But once again, Jay chooses the bloodline. When he did the thing, this was my number 1. I don't think people remember. When he was like grabbing his brother and he was leaning on him and it looked like he was about to cry. Walks out of the ring. Sami is standing in the aisle. He hugs Sami. The crowd erupts. He's joining Sami. Boom! Super kicks him.
That was great.
And Sami took a live round into the barricade and fell down.
I still remember I was sitting with my better half, and she's sitting there, and she so wanted Jay to go with Sami, and her jaw just dropped. Like, it was one of those, she was just like, no! And that's wrestling, man. That is, it's to me, it's not about these amazing, the moves are great.
Yeah.
But the story is what matters, man.
Awesome.
And it was awesome. It really was. I hope we get something in 2024 that even somewhat lives up to the bloodline angle that we saw.
Thad out here on a limb on his own. Hey EW. He likes the Hey EW show. He's got that in there. Is number 1.
Hey.
The trial of Sami Zayn coming from Ryan Ross.
Yeah.
The trial of Sami, number 1. Usos turning on Roman. And then the verbal confrontation between Seth and Punk, which just happened a couple of weeks ago when they were face-to-face. That got a few votes as well. I had the Roman 1000 package also. Remember the night at, I believe it was at Madison Square Garden, was day 1000. And they did a 4-minute thing, and it kept going down a hall, and it had Hogan, Bruno, all the champions, Macho Man, in their days, and it kept having him pass by, and then it would show a moment from whatever.
Awesome.
One of the best packages they have ever done. Sami turning on the bloodline, coming from the dock, absolutely gold. CM Punk, and then the Puerto Rican wrestlers at Backlash. He's got that. The
awesome.
Doc has those. How about we have one more from Bo? We haven't heard from Bo here in a minute. Where his segment, he's got Sami turning on Roman, CM Punk, and then the Cody Heyman promos. Worst segment. And a lot, again, numerous different things. Number 1, though, coming from WrestleMania 39, which has been praised up and down. This moment, not so much. And that would be Shane McMahon blowing out his entire leg and Snoop coming in and the whole thing there. That is number 1 with 40 points. Followed by, we had the match was number 2. It's also worst segment. Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes in.
I voted, yep.
That had a bunch of second place votes. My number 1, and a few other people voted for this as well, is number 3 overall. We have a major announcement. We've got a major announcement.
We have a major
Tony's
announcement on this.
Huge announcement. Big announcement, major announcement, whatever it is. Every one of these popcorn fart major announcements.
We will be showing Dynamite on Wednesday next week.
Yeah. Hey, we're putting on sale tickets for an event 3 years from now. We need to have a major announcement.
We donated to Toys for Tots.
We are giving to Toys for Tots. Major announcement for the holiday coming up 2 months from now. I mean,
definition of clickbait right there, isn't it? Like, I mean, it just...
Every time they have a bad night in the ratings, there's a big announcement the next night. I mean,
They're doing
those things.
not to the same
it's
level.
the boy that cried wolf.
It's WCW again. It's the guy sitting in the background saying, we've got our script for Nitro. Okay. Oh my God, Austin's out there. Look at the ratings are moving. We got to get Hogan and Bischoff out there. Scrap what we're doing. You don't just do your show.
I know. Dr. Kev has Shane #1, Tony Khan special announcement #2, and then just a couple of weeks ago, the Jericho Omega promo against Big Bill and Ricky Starks.
They couldn't speak.
They couldn't even spit, and they tried to be funny. They thought they were stand-up comedians. Are not. A bunch of other firsts. The roll of quarters from Juice Robinson only got 1 vote, and it got a first-place vote.
My #1 didn't make it.
Yeah, what do you got?
Triple H unveiling the new title.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Tell them why.
#1, you unveil a new title and you completely trash Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Then you go off on a tangent saying, basically, Roman Reigns is the greatest guy ever. No one can beat him. So we're creating this B title to satisfy all you in the audience. I'm sitting there going, what the hell did I just listen to?
Right.
Like you trashed your champion. He's a part-timer. He doesn't come to work. He doesn't do a good job as the champion. But no one can beat him.
Yeah.
So we got to create a new title that we can give to everybody else so everybody can win one. You know, I mean, it's just, it was awful to me. It made Roman look bad. It made the title that they're introducing look bad. And, you know, Triple H, I'm sorry. I do feel the product is better over the past few years. There's no doubt. But this guy does some things that just, I don't know that he realized. He buries.
He's always done it.
He has buried people.
He can't get out of his own way sometimes.
No.
Our guy Duff has Dom Goes to Prison, the worst segment. I found it hilarious, but, you know, whatever. Each their own. I found that absolutely hilarious. But, you know, that's just me. It is what it is. I do want to get Dan in here because he had the Hardy concert at Royal Rumble, which I didn't even remember. The artist Hardy, he put on a concert. Numerous things. I don't know how everybody forgot about QTV, or maybe there was just so many bad ones that they didn't get them in there. I think there's so many
bad, yeah.
Anything with the devil I had in there on mine. Man, there were a bunch. Let's get into best announcer. It is a runaway. Michael Cole goes from GOAT to hero. Michael Cole, runaway.
I feel like ever since Vince got out of his ear, and just let him call the match.
Yeah. Worst announcer. This was close, and I thought Kevin Patrick was going to run away with it until we got some late votes in. He got all first and 1/3, 12 first. JR wins by 2 points. JR, it might be time. It might be time.
It is.
Yeah.
I think
Kevin Patrick right behind him.
And he will go. No, you can give him the award. He's been absolutely awful. He will go down as one of the greatest announcers in the history of the industry.
Time. Worst tag team of the year. I could not believe this. I didn't see this coming.
I did not vote for them.
I might have. I can't remember.
I did not.
The Young Bucks are the worst tag team of the year. I did not see that coming. I voted them third. I had Jarrett and Lethal, and then Mike Bennett and his guy. They're wearing shirts that say like something about kick them in the wiener. Like, what are we in third grade? What are we doing? I had them, but no, the Young Bucks hold off the Viking Raiders.
That's why I had it too.
Second. Yeah, I had them on there too, but I had to take them off. Hit Rowe, and then Ronda and Shayna. And then there was a bunch with all one vote. Butcher and Blade got a vote.
Oh,
2.0.
I can't stand those guys. And
Young Bucks, though, we already kind of went through it. We don't need to break it down here. Wow. Unbelievable. Where you looked at where they were
Weren't
even
they
2
on the
years
voting
ago.
for Tag Team of the Year last year?
Yeah. And they had some hate votes too, but I think people now, they're just done with these guys. And the Punk thing didn't help, as we talked about earlier. But I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming at all. Worst tag. Dan, I wanted to get this in here, and I think I had them on my biggest fall list. I think they're overrated. I don't like FTR Bald whatsoever. He's got FTR worst tag team of the year, #1. He doesn't want to see them. He doesn't like them. Their music is a ripoff. Their ring gear is a ripoff.
Yep.
Their Hart Foundation stuff is a ripoff. They do Bret Hart tributes in the ring
every night.
Like, what's yours? What do you have that's yours? Nothing. Nothing you do is yours.
They're one of those teams that enough of their fan base just kept telling us how good they were, so it kind of was accepted.
I think there's a lot of that. Raw says the Viking Raiders.
They're awful.
Yep.
They're awful.
And the one guy's hurt and not going to be around for a while.
I just don't think you can do those gimmicks anymore. Like how are they, where do they live? Down the street from me and their Viking lifestyle? I just don't understand how you do these.
They came on their boat.
Right, yeah, these gimmicks of, these teams, they don't work any. No. It's not 1988. No. You can't do this anymore.
Yeah, where you can just sit there like the barbarian while Keaton talks and he goes,
it doesn't work. He's not a real barbarian,
Doctor, dude. Butcher and the Blade, they're still getting it.
God.
The Butcher and the Blade are still getting it, dude.
Oh, man.
The Righteous from Thad Varsity and Chase U. From the folks in San Diego, both have Hit Row. So
you can't argue. I just didn't think they were around long enough for me to vote them. But I have no problem with that. They're awful.
Best tag team of the year came down to two groups. And it's the same as we've heard numerous times. Sammy and KO are your winners. They hold off the Usos, who were still around for the first 6 months together. They come in second. FTR comes in third. They got a lot of votes, but not as many firsts and seconds as the other two groups. FTR is third. MJF and Cole, Better Than You, Bay, coming in fourth. And then I had them on my list. The Guns.
I put the guy at the Guns at 2. I had the Guns at 2.
Yeah, I had them third. FTR, as we just ripped on them, Jeff out in San Diego has FTR number 1, House of Black, and the Gun Club as his best tag teams of the year.
I'm going to give a shout out to her again. I have in third place. She is the reason why they stayed relevant. The tag team titles in WWE.
The cursed tag team titles.
That she has tried to help remove the curse from Chelsea Green and whoever the heck has been her partner all year.
Keeps changing.
I had her in her Sonya Deville or Piper Niven, whoever. Chelsea Green has done a great job of taking a title that is just something is cursed, wrong, defunct about it, and she's kept it to somewhat relevant.
She's tried.
She's tried her best.
There's no doubt. She's definitely tried. KO and Sammy is coming from Austin.
Yeah.
Then Better Than You, Bay, and FTR.
For life.
Worst female. We're going to see the same that we saw before. And I was a little surprised. Ronda Rousey runs with this one. Yep. Tons of first place votes. Shotzi, again, in the top 5. We've talked about it the last 2 years. Here we are again.
They need to reboot that character.
I don't know what you do with it.
I don't either, but they need to reboot it because the whole tank punk, like she's a punk rock girl that comes out in a tank and scream. It's just not working for anybody.
No. Then we're followed by Saraya. Nia Jax are tied with 24. Then Ruby and Indy Hartwell is there as well. I had Saraya number 1. I mean, this has been a disaster. She can't talk. Her group is terrible. She can't work anymore. She's
not even in a group anymore. I think Tony left them.
That up.
Yeah.
Well, and then her and Ruby are kind of splitting. And then I got Ruby number 2.
I had Ruby at 1.
She's good. And this is going to hurt some people. It's what you just said. People want them to be good. They want them to be good. They jump on the hype train. They did this with this girl, and now she's actually getting to talk, and we're finding out she can't. Chris Statlander, number 3. I got her.
I think Saraya is what you just said. I think there was this, because we hadn't seen her in the ring really since she got injured in WWE, and now she's coming back, and not only coming back full time.
Yep.
People were excited because she was successful in the WWE, had a decent run there as champion, and boy, what a letdown. It just hasn't delivered to what we thought it would be.
Not at all.
But again, I completely understand people with Ronda. This was a bad run, but the only thing I would say about Ronda, and again, I'm not sticking up for her, as bad as she is, would I rather watch Ronda or Ruby? I'm watching Ronda.
I would rather watch Ronda.
Am I rather watching Ronda or Abandon or Ronda and any, so many. Even I'm sorry, the Feather Rio. Yeah, she has no weight on her. Like she can't.
There's no character.
It doesn't sell to me when she looks like
she's around once every 6 months. There's no reason to like Rio.
And it just, would I rather watch Ronda than these other ladies? Yeah, I would because I think she's been just has a better history. Yeah. But I understand her run was the worst run she's had.
In a group of not good runs.
Yes.
Yeah, Brock's got her number one, Shotzi, Nia Jax, Ryan Ross, Shotzi, Indy Hartwell, and Raquel Rodriguez as number two.
Well, she shows
Thad's got Saraya, Rousey, Charlotte Flair. Not a lot to talk about with the best female. This was the runaway of the evening.
Had to be.
She got more votes than anybody got. She
had to be.
All first place votes. 1 second. Rhea Ripley, female of the year.
Deserves it.
Runs away. What a great year. I don't think Judgment Day has been good, but she has been. She's been great. Io Sky just holding off Becky Lynch, then Bianca, and Athena with 4 first-place votes, the ROH champion. A lot of people don't get to see her because she's on ROH. If she's that good, get her on AEW. What are we doing? And then a bunch of other votes after that. Toni Storm did get 6 votes, but she's way back. This is Rhea's thing. My only thing would be Io. I know people like her work. The character, man. I need a reason to care about her. I still have no reason.
When she loses that title, what do you do with her?
Yeah. The opposite of me, Heather has Chris Statlander, number one, Toni Storm, then Becky Lynch. So she feels the opposite of the way I do on that one, and that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
And let's go with worst male of the year, and here is another surprise.
I did not vote for this. I didn't even I don't
think
disagree,
about it.
but
I didn't even think about
neither.
it. And he wins it. It is Karrion Kross. Got more votes than anybody. 12 votes. He wins, and he holds off Almost, who comes in at number 2, who barely held off Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, Jungle Boy, and Nick Wayne. Karrion Kross. I don't think he stinks or anything, but I don't think he's good. I don't like dark characters.
No.
I don't like, what do you do? You talk
His
about
manager overshadows him.
Right? You know, you talk about, I'm going to get you in death and destruction and your time is coming. You're not going to kill the guy.
No.
And then you lose anyway, so you're not doing anything. I had Nick Wayne number 1, and then I already mentioned Jeff Jarrett and QT Marshall. Get off my television. Do not come near my TV. But Nick Wayne, my gosh, this kid's 18 years old. We heard about him. I don't think his matches have been very good. And now you neutered him at 18 years old. He's out there with his mom. And his mom keeps saving him, and his friend turned on him and left him bloody and all. Like, you've already made him bad. You've made him already. He's 18. What are we doing?
I had Hook at 3 because he's not believable to me. I just don't believe that he's dangerous. He looks like he's in my class.
Yeah.
6th period in junior high school. Danhausen at 2.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I think he is one of the worst things in pro wrestling. One of the worst things. It makes the sport worse. It's Orange Cassidy. I'm sorry.
You had him 1, right?
I have him as 1.
Yeah.
This is a joke. He's psychological. He does the same thing every match. So what you're saying, if he's psychological, the people he's wrestling are bumbling idiots because they don't know. He does the roll across the ring, the I don't care, the thought. Like, everything makes wrestling, like, it's almost like he's mocking the sport.
Yeah, well, it is. And now they're
And
trying to
that's
say
not cool to
he's
me.
doing psychological warfare. Well, if he does it every match, it's on tape. We've seen it now.
Right.
That's like falling for the same play. Like,
Yes.
on first down, we run a
reverse
yeah.
every time, and you bite on it. I think Orange Cassidy is absolutely terrible. But
Ross agrees. Ross has him number 1.
Awful.
The doc, Danhausen, get him off my screen.
I'm with you,
Is all he
Danhausen.
put, get him off my screen.
Get him off.
Bo, he's got outside the box a little bit. Ridge Holland,
I could deal
Karrion
with
Kross,
Yeet.
and Madcap Moss, who is no longer with them. He's got those guys.
They haven't been good.
Wheeler Yuta coming from Eric Columbia. He's the absolute worst. That's all it says. He's the absolute worst. He's got in there.
That's awesome.
CM Punk from Thad.
People were scoring by.
Punk.
Yep, I understand.
Almost. Yeah. So there you go. Let's jump from the worst and let's go back to the best
And on a
because
nice
it was
note here.
tight. It was so tight, and it comes down to 2 votes. 2 votes. And the king has been dethroned. And he has been dethroned by Mr. H's new belt. Seth Rollins is your best male of the year, edging out Roman Reigns by 2 votes. They are followed by Gunther, coming in 3rd. Cody Rhodes, 4th. MJF is 5th. You love Seth. Did you have him 1?
No.
You had Roman 1 and Seth 2?
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
I just don't I think a lot of this is people are upset with Roman's schedule.
Yeah.
I
Which is
get
understandable.
that. I get it.
Because I didn't like when Brock was never around.
But the ratings move with Roman, and this is not the make friends business. This is not the it's the make money business. I have no problem with Rollins at 1, other than the fact that it should be Roman.
Greshak, who had Roman most overrated, he's got Seth number 1, LA Knight number 2, Logan Paul number 3.
They all had good years.
Thad Will Ospreay number 1, Gunther number 2, Cody Rhodes number 3.
Okay.
Rich. Our man Rich has Gunther, number 1. Priest, number 2. Rollins, number 3.
Priest is interesting.
Let me look at some other. Best male. Here's one for you. Ross. Jey Uso, number 1. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes.
All right.
Brock. Seth, number 1. Gunther, LA Knight. Now, Brock is a Roman guy. He doesn't have Roman on the list. Because he's not around.
Because not around.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Because
Sure.
I'm getting a little frustrated myself with it.
MJF from both of the folks in San Diego. And let me go one more. Let me pick up Deke. Deke has Reigns, Rollins, Gunther on his list. And then mine, I had Roman, Jay, Sami Zayn.
Sammy had a big year.
He did. Up until halfway through, and now he's there, but
He main evented WrestleMania.
he main evented WrestleMania. He main evented the Rumble.
Yeah.
He main evented the next pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, come on, man. But people have forgotten. Now he has slipped a little bit, but that first, I mean, he was the guy. He was the guy. Anything to wrap it up in here, Nick? We've gone long as we always do. Anything to wrap it up here, though? Huge. Again, bloodline for about the 3rd year in a row.
And congratulations to Rhea. I mean, she's
been great.
Had a great year.
Yep.
I think what you're seeing and hearing as far as what I'm seeing on here, they got to get Roman back on television.
Oh, and he is. He is.
I mean,
Next week, he'll be there.
he can't fight 3 times a year.
Yep. No, I agree with that. And it'll be interesting. We assume he's losing to Cody at Mania. What do they do going after? What happens after that? My big takeaways, of the year are LA Knight, a big. People like this guy, obviously, by our votes. He is up there. Yeah. He had a great year. And then, again, the fall of AEW. There are people that are still clinging on, but obviously the flaws are there. People know it. They see it. And what's going to happen? Because if they lose that TV rights deal,
It's over.
my gosh, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen after that to this company? So there will be very interesting when we come back here a year from today to see where we're sitting
at.
and because you got to assume Roman's going to go somewhere else. What's going to happen here? It's going to be a very interesting year. Thank you so much for
Hope you had
filling
fun.
this junk
I
out.
did.
Look at all these papers. Look at all these. This is all you guys, man. Look at that. Thank you. And all my computer here. Thank you so much for taking your time to fill it out. We tried to get you all in here who filled these out. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please leave a comment. Tell us our people are stupid. If you don't agree with the votes, tell us we're stupid. We can take
Tell us why Gunther's good.
Tell us what the deal is other than the work. But yes, thank you so much. And as always, we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Job, guys. Out.
Pleasure's all yours, Bucky boys.